Hey everybody, I have a special bonus for you. I cannot leave the month of Mattei without one more episode for you here on the main feed. Over on Patreon, I did The Other Hell with Dustin from Flicks and Friends, The Baron's Hideout, B-Action, but I wanted to bring it out to everybody as one last hurrah for the month of Mattei. I want everybody to experience all 6 episodes that we have. For this special bonus episode to end the month of Mattei, I have the Patreon episode for The Other Hell that I'm going to bring to you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed the month of Mattei as much as I did. I absolutely loved doing this. Loved everyone I did it with. I want to thank Gerald from the Awards Garage for coming on to talk Cruel Jaws with me. Dan from the Geeks with Beards podcast coming on to talk Zombie 3 with me. Drew from the Real Feels podcast for coming on to talk Hell of the Living Dead. But I also want to thank Drew for coming in on last second notice when Jason from History of Bad Ideas could not make it to talk Rats Night of Terror. Drew stepped up to the plate and he got a double feature in this month for the month of Mattei. And then the last main episode, I want to thank Jason from Binge Movies for coming on to try to make sense of Night Killer. That one was one wild film. And then what you're about to listen to with Dustin from Flicks and Friends, Baron's Hideout, B-Action, we talk The Other Hell. And I wonder, you'll find out what Dustin thought of this nunsploitation film. But I want to thank all my guests for coming on to chat these films with me. I want to thank all of you listeners out there who listened to all 6 of these episodes. And I'm going to say, if any of you watched all 6 films, I want to say you're an extra trooper for making it through 6 Bruno Mattei films. I've watched 10 during this whole thing. I watched some other Bruno Mattei movies, but we'll get into those later. And make sure you stay towards the end because I'm going to give my ratings for these 6 films, how I rate all 6 of my Month of Mattei films, where I put them on a list. But without further ado, let's dive into the episode with Dustin and I as we talk The Other Hell. Hey patrons, I'm here with a Patreon exclusive just for you for the month of Mattei. 5 episodes over on the main feed, but I couldn't stop there. I had to do just one more, and I had to bring in another special guest. So we're going to talk Bruno Mattei's The Other Hell from 1981. And you know what? I couldn't think of a better person to bring in than someone who has recently watched some nunsploitation films. And that is Dustin from so many shows. Flicks and Friends, the Baron's Hideout, B-Action. How many more you got in there?
That's all I got.
Okay.
That's all I have time for. What? So I was trying to think about that. What spawned this conversation to where you think I like nunsploitation?
I think I was throwing out some Bruno Mattei stuff of what I was going to do. And you commented, we just did a nunsploitation. And I said, you know what? I'm putting you down for The Other Hell.
Was it then? I don't remember.
Or maybe it was a, I don't know if it was for short films for Barons or what it was. You made a nunsploitation comment, and I was like, you know what? I'm putting you down for this one. And you're like, okay.
You know what, Dustin? You can go be in the other hell. How about that? Well, I'm happy to be here, Brad, despite this movie.
Do you have any history with Bruno Mattei's movies? He's done plenty of terrible action movies as well as horror movies. So
I have the same one that everyone has, and that is Anna's favorite, Cruel Jaws. That is really it for me when it comes to Bruno Mattei.
Okay. I didn't know if you have seen like Shocking Dark or Strike Commando or any of his action movies he's done.
Don't mention any of those around Charlie, please. Okay. Charlie doesn't need to know about them. That's what he has Pete for. Pete's his Bruno Mattei fella. I mean,
you don't know. Maybe the action ones might hit you a little better than this one. And, I don't know.
That's true. All right, you know what? I'll mention it to Charlie, okay? I'll say, hey, man, just so you know, There are Bruno Mattei action movies.
There are, and especially if you watch Shocking Dark, it was released as Terminator 2 in some countries. Yes. And the story is basically Alien mixed with Predator mixed with Terminator. It's insane.
I just sent it to Charlie. I'm gonna be like, hey, check this out. You tell me what's up.
He'll be like, I've already seen it.
It's on the list already.
He's like, I own it.
But yeah, like I said, my Bruno Mattei experience is just Cruel Jaws.
Just Cruel Jaws.
Now this.
And now The Other Hell. So you've kind of gone both ends of the spectrum, I guess. I think. I don't know. I told you before we started recording my Cruel Jaws episode with Gerald from Awards Garage. I told him, I was like, by the end of this series, 6 episodes, these 6 guests, I might not have any podcasting friends left. But we'll see.
Gerald, I'm gonna tell you this right now, brother. You lucked out, okay? You lucked out with Cruel Jaws. So this movie's on YouTube in English, so if you want to go watch it, go watch it.
And I own the DVD of this. So I forever will have it. But we'll get into what I think of it. Maybe I'm opposite of what you thought. I don't know. We'll see. Because you haven't seen my
Letterboxd review. Yeah, you hit your Letterboxd review. I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I'm just going to put a placeholder here. And I'm like, by the end of it, I was like, that's actually pretty accurate. Let me just leave it.
All right. Are you ready? Are you ready to dive into The Other Hell?
Open the gates, man.
I won't allow you to upset the convent life. The nuns are still extremely shocked.
Mother, I was sent here specially to try to find out how these women died. It was a job I was given. And I don't mean to leave this convent until I've solved the mystery.
Well, there's no mystery in this convent, I assure you.
A priest investigates paranormal activity at a nun's convent where a deep, dark secret is about to resurface in the guise of murder. Could the devil be behind this, or is that just what Mother Superior wants everyone to believe?
Mother Superior?
This is written, the story was by Bruno Mattei and Claudio Fragasso, who they worked together a lot on many films. Claudio wrote the screenplay. Bruno directed it under the name Stefan Alblowski, because he uses a lot of pseudonyms in his names, in his movies, I mean. And it stars Franca Stoppi, Carlo De Mejo, Francesca Carmino, Susan Fargata, and many others. It came out in 1981, and funny thing is, this isn't the only nun film that Bruno Mattei did. They filmed 2 films at the exact same time with the same actors.
Canon style.
Just to cut the budget. The other one's called The True Story of the Nun of Monza, and it has all the same cast. I started watching that one today, and whoa. Let me tell you, I don't even... There's a 5-minute scene of people trying to get 2 horses to mate with a fully erect horse and the other horse. And after that, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I need to go on.
This isn't my kind of weird.
This is not my kind of movie. This is a little different than The Other Hell.
Yeah, so it's like one of those things where he's like, here, you can copy my homework, but, not word for word, okay? Just make it kind of like it.
Kind of, sort of, but not really, not at all.
Yeah.
So since you don't have any history with Bruno Mattei, so this is, out of the 6 movies, this is the last one. I've now watched them all, so I kind of know what to expect when I'm watching one. Kind of that your stories gonna not make a lot of sense a lot of the times. Things are gonna jump around. You're gonna be like, what? Where did this turn? Who is this person? What's going on? So to tell you the truth, Dustin, this one might be my favorite one of the month.
Oh my God, dude. Like my biggest gripe is that, like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, at all. And what made it even worse is how concealed everyone was. I couldn't really differentiate who was who because they're all nuns.
And a lot of them looked, especially in the face, very similar. And you're like, wait, didn't she just die? Or is this the same nun? I don't know. I'm just going to go with it.
The only one that I knew was different was the one that was wearing the mask.
The one that was wearing the mask and the Mother Vincenza, the main girl who...
Mother Superior, yeah.
Yes. Because she kind of had a different look. But all the others, except for there was a handful of older nuns that just kind of are background players.
Sure.
All the main players, they did look very similar.
I'll tell you what I did like about this movie. And it was like the last 20 minutes I did really like. It had that weird giallo feel to it. It didn't necessarily have the black glove, but it did have a masked figure, which I really liked. I like the fact that they're like, oh, by the way, they're not nuns. It's a coven of witches. I'm like, what? What is happening right now?
A Bruno Mattei movie. He's just like a curveball, right? Out of nowhere. And you're like, wait a second. That doesn't make any sense.
I knew what ride I was in for when we're sitting in that room with the two priests and they're talking back and forth at that table. And one guy gets up. And then you have that young priest that walks in.
Yes.
The guy that's still sitting down crumbles up his paper and flicks the ball at this other priest that walks in like a dickhead. And the guy just like looks at him, puts the book back, grabs another book, and leaves. I'm like, all right. I guess there's going to be some that type of humor in this where it's like this guy that we're supposed to be following is going to act like his shit don't stink. And throughout the whole movie,
he does.
That's the case.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Basically, we're going to get into spoilers just so people know. They should know.
You're going to spoil a Bruno Mattei movie?
I know.
Man.
But we start out, you're in like, I guess it's like, it feels like a catacombs or like a...
Like the catacombs of Paris, like what we see in like As Above, So Below. It like has that iconic imagery of like, shrines of skulls everywhere.
Yes.
You know, that should have been my first sign, but it wasn't. I didn't think anything of it. You know, so it's just the whole, and then we walk down and then there's a bunch of nuns down there like murdering each other.
It's kind of a weird transition. It was actually a really cool shot where the nun walks into the room but it's like you walked into a mad scientist's lair. Where it's the test tubes, but the way it was shot and colored, where it's like the circle and they kind of walk into the circle, I was like, oh, this is really artsy for a Bruno Mattei movie. I'm like, whoa, he was like experimenting here in the early '80s before Cruel Jaws, and he filled it full of stock footage.
Right, that must have been from the other movie that they couldn't fit in. Is what I feel like that was. The other movie was a Frankenstein movie, let's be frank. But this Mother Superior, dude, when she's like, the genitals are the door of evil.
Evil.
She cuts out that woman's vagina.
She's like stabs it and just like starts ripping chunks. And I was like, oh shit, this is okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's wild. Like, again, like I'm going to say it this whole time, like my whole brain is like, what the fuck am I watching?
That's probably when you messaged me and you said, what are you having me watch?
Well, no, that wasn't that part. You might know exactly what part I'm going to talk about when we get to that. But it was the 70s, you know, so it was not illegal from what we've seen in this.
I mean, it was probably filmed in the 70s, came out in 81. So, it felt very 70s, very like grindhousey Italian. I mean, you know, they're a little more loose on, you know, what you're gonna show, film, do in a movie.
Are we just beat for beating this, or can I go ahead and say what I was gonna say, like that part?
You can tell me jump to which part had you like WTF? Was it the baby?
No. I didn't care about the baby.
Okay.
This priest is walking around this dog farm.
Yes.
And we meet
another odd reason.
Yeah. And he goes, oh, these dogs are trained to kill. And we're watching this dog chase down this priest. Like, it's like just jogging. Like, this dog isn't like in attack mode. You know, like we just see.
That part was weird because the dog, it was like this big, almost doofy dog of like, I was like, this dog's supposed to be a killer?
A marshmallow dog. Yes, exactly. But then our guy goes, oh, I thought you were a cop. They said a priest was coming, but, you know, the cops have been poking around here, and I don't like that. He goes, and I don't like people too much. I like animals more. And he picks up a chicken and he's like, hey, so I like animals more because they don't talk to you. And see this guy right here, I feed the animals, but then they make sure I get fed. And he walks over to this stump and cleaves off this chicken's head.
Cuts his head off.
Right in front of us.
Right on camera.
And I'm like, all right, pause. Then that's why I was like, what the fuck do you have me watching, Brad?
Well, I read that the actor who played like the caretaker, I guess he's the caretaker of the grounds and like the dogs, he refused to do that. He didn't want to kill the chicken. So that's kind of why you cut away from his face. Bruno Mattei was like, fine, I'll do it. And he just filmed himself cutting the chicken's head off.
And that's like, a lot of people who don't like Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah.
Is for that reason too, because of the monkey and the turtle. Mm-hmm. The Blu-ray I have has an animal cruelty free version. And that's the part I watch. Is I don't want to see these people mutilate these animals. But it's different when you're going to use the animal. Like he's literally going to cook that chicken. Yeah. I get it. I ain't mad at it, but I don't want to watch it. So
and usually in films, especially films nowadays, for sure. I mean, if they're going to kill an animal, it's practical effects or CG, and it's not, hey, we filmed us actually cutting a chicken's head off.
Yeah, they make the robot chicken look real enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, I understand the time period. It was in the 70s, early 80s, whatever. And like I said, it wasn't illegal to do that. Like, it wasn't like... But it was frowned upon.
Oh yeah.
I don't think the animal cruelty part was really prevalent at this point. But at the same time, it's like now watching it, I'm like, huh. But I bet you if watching it then, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, and I'm actually surprised that because there's other animals in the film, dogs, what the dogs do to the cat. That those were actually like the dogs when they attacked the man and stuff. You could tell it was just like this mouth puppet. Going at people and like, but the chicken was the full chicken.
And I had to make sure, because like I watched the movie twice to make sure I didn't like it. I wanted to give it a fair chance. I wanted to be like, I wanted to see if I missed something or if there's a piece that I wanted to put together or a piece that I could put together that would make the movie make more sense to me. And I'm like, it just didn't. So, but the second time I seen it, when you see the chicken's feet kicking, I'm like, that's a real chicken. I was like, okay, so that did happen. I thought they might have had some cool, but again, Bruno Mattei, the money budget he had.
There's a Spanish movie I watched last summer. I don't remember the name of it, but they have a pig in it and kill the pig on screen. And I sat there and I watched it and I was like, fuck, that was a real pig on screen. I was like, I don't know if I'll ever watch this movie again.
Yeah, but it just makes you feel some type of way, but it's also...
Yeah, it makes you feel... I can see all whatever dye practical effects and fake and everything else, but you're filming it for real. It just gives you a different, like,
But that also sets the tone of the movie too. Like, the movie's dark and grimy, so why wouldn't they?
Very
do
much
that?
so.
Yeah,
like I said, the way the beginning went, where it was shot a little different, and I was like, I can tell this is Bruno, just because it's kind of incoherent and jumps around. There's so many stories that happen within the film, and like any other Bruno Mattei movie that I've watched, some of them don't get resolved, and then some storylines will pop back in, and you're just like, what? Why? Where did this come from all of a sudden? And you just, I don't know, you just kind of go with it.
Yeah, and I do have a question. I might have just missed it. So there's that gray-haired lady, right? Like him, the main father and this gray-haired woman get into a tussle, and they eventually start choking each other out, right? He wins because he is alive. What happens to him?
And she has like this orgasmic experience while she's on top of him, which I thought was weird. And then she just like keels over. It was the priest that was doing the investigation, the bearded priest that did the caricature and flicked the paper that she was choking.
Yeah.
He's part of like kind of like the final, she stabs him in the leg, and then...
Yeah, there's like that big showdown between Mother Superior and Father Superior.
They made the comment when they go to the other priest at the end the father, he can only talk through telekinesis now. And he keeps talking about these Satan and witches and stuff, and they don't believe him. They just, that is one line that they threw in there of like, he can only speak through telekinesis. And I'm like, what the fuck?
What? Since when?
Exactly. Where did this come from?
Yeah, what the shit? Yeah, then there's the big final showdown between the two of them, the good versus the evil.
Yes.
Because that kind of is like foreshadowed earlier in the movie, because when we meet this guy, this new father, he walks into a conversation where these two guys are having, and he's like, without God, there can't be the devil. Without good, there is no evil. And he's like, the devil doesn't live, under earth and fire. He lives in people, which I thought that was pretty fucking smart. That was a good conversation back and forth.
He came in kind of like the scientific father, I guess you could say, because he would always say there's an explanation for this. I'm going to figure out what happened. It wasn't demons, possession, whatever. I'm going to figure it out. So that's what I'm here for is there has to be a reason these things were happening. A reason why a nun's cutting out vaginas because they're evil. And then they had the I love at that beginning that I forgot which nun she said. She like clearly, Sister Florence. And the coffin opens up and this body comes out that has this obvious giant big eyeball hanging in it. I just started laughing. I'm like, this is perfect. I think that beginning, and I just laughed along with the movie, and I was hooked in going, this is ridiculous. This is stupid. I'm kind of enjoying myself.
Yeah, there are two parts that I did really like, though. One is the one I just talked about, where the father, like, the first time we meet him, his introduction, and like why he's there. The second one is in the confessional booth when the priest goes in, and there's the girl, and the nun he's talking to, and she's like, I love you. I can't see you because you'd push me away, all this and that. And then behind him in the other confessional booth, another nun walks in, and the nun he's talking to is like, do not talk to her. She wants to kill you. And he turns around and comes face to face with like a 12-inch fucking knife.
Yeah.
In front of his face, dude. And I thought that was pretty good. That was a good jump scare. You know what I mean? Like, for this movie, it was pretty good.
There were definite moments where, like, when the dogs attacked, it was ridiculous, but I was like, this is kind of cool where they tear the cat apart, because the whole movie you have this mysterious nun that's always got the face covered in white that you don't see who she is, and she's carrying the cat, like petting a cat, and you're like,
yeah,
who's this nun that's randomly showing up? You find out later who it is, that it's the Mother Superior's daughter that they tried to kill originally, which that whole scene, because, he has these recordings, and the father's listening to these tapes of recordings of, talking, trying to figure out. And then all of a sudden, the next scene, he has a video camera and has video. And I'm like, where did this come from?
Dude, the one that's like set up in front of his bed?
Yeah. He all of a sudden had video camera, and then the tape took over, and then it showed the scene with who is now the Mother Superior. They had a baby, and the Mother Superior then, when she was younger, took her baby and threw the baby in a pot of boiling water. She pulls the baby out, and the baby, or the doll eye, because you can tell it's just a doll, you just see the eye, like kills the nun.
It's like a doll's eye.
I laughed when she grabbed the baby, and you see that she's going to throw it into this pot of water, and the other nun, she just pulls it out, like, no, like, and then he's showing the eye. Nothing's wrong with the child. Like, nothing happened until you see this grown woman later.
Yeah, she has a deformity from her mouth down, yeah. But another thing that I thought was pretty funny was the alarm system that Mother Superior had going to her secret lair. was a baby doll tied to a noose. Just drop on people.
The baby doll noose, and then the hall of like mannequins just hanging around that you kind of had to go through to get to get to the mad scientist lair, where they cut the evil out of nuns, and eventually it has that. We didn't even talk about the skull. There's the skull with blinking red lights.
Oh my god, like it's like the best Halloween fucking decoration you could find.
They ran down to Spirit Halloween or whatever it was back in 80
Party City. Yeah.
To get a skull with red lights so it can possess people to either kill themselves or kill other nuns. Because the two nuns at the beginning that skull possessed one of them, and she killed the other one, and then she died, but I was like, I don't remember really seeing her die, and they just made a comment of Sister Asante and the other sister are dead.
Yeah.
Did we see the other one die?
The only one that I seen that was dead was the one that was laying on the table. Like she was on the slab.
Yeah.
When the priest walked in and she's like bare-assed. Just like laying on the slab, and you're like, okay, I'm just assuming that's the girl from the very beginning that had her vagina cut out.
I don't know. And then when you cut to the scene where they're taking communion, and then you have the nun that starts to bleed from the mouth, and then later she gets stigmata, so she gets, the scars in her hands and her feet. They come in the room because they had locked her in a room, and all that's left is her bloody clothes, and then a door opens, and she's like, I guess, hanging on the door and falls off, and I'm like, it's just odd cuts, but that's what I'm used to.
Sure.
Especially watching these films, but...
Yeah, going through his whole filmography, you've grown accustomed. You're desensitized to it.
I am.
A part that I laughed my ass off at, though, and it's because I made the joke before it happened, was it has like this cool pull-out shot, and you see the nuns starting this bonfire.
Yes.
In the middle of the courtyard, just throwing shit on it, and then you see like other nuns throw bigger shit, like benches and chairs, and they're like, "Why are you throwing all this stuff?" And I was like, "Because evil sits there." And she goes, "Because evil sits here." I was like, "Oh my god!"
And then the priest makes the comment of like destroying fingerprints too.
Yeah, fire destroys fingerprints, so they're trying to cover their ass on who's been killing who, or at least one of them, And there was a part where they had this other an older priest come in to bless the convent, and they're like, "Yeah, you don't have to go in there. It's all right. You don't have to go in there. You don't have to go in there." And he's like, "I want to do the whole building," and she's like, "It's okay." Cue the crazy nurse or the crazy nun screaming. And they're like, we got to go tend to her. Wipes the sweat off her fucking brow because they were about to find her out, man.
But the older priest, the way he dies, first, the scene, all of a sudden, there was like a fire in a fireplace he goes into, because he started going through the catacombs in the hallway.
He had the big fucking tweezers that like minced the fire.
Yeah, and I'm like, why are you stoking the fire right now? It just like you're trying.
Are you cold?
Navigating through this space to see what's going on, and then you're like, oh, there's a fire. I should stoke the fire and make it come up a little bit. And then he gets set aflame. Someone
behind the fire goes and blows the fire onto him, and he catches on fire, dude.
Which I thought was kind of cool, because the way they superimposed it almost looked like he was melting. And then I laughed after the fire went out, because all you see is this burnt skeleton hand, like pointing, I think it was, and then the legs like twitch.
He looked into the Ark of the Covenant,
yes.
And that's what happened. Yes. Dude. Like he just melted. But I think my favorite kill in this, man, is that groundskeeper, because he gets mauled by these dogs,
his own dogs.
Yeah, and that's not the last we see of him, because he's put on the slab at the end of this movie, while Mother Superior is kind of like confessing as to everything she's done throughout the whole movie. Like, this is why I'm doing it. I had sex with Satan, and Satan gave me his baby in hopes that, and all this and that. And then this asshole comes back to life and grabs her.
He does.
That is probably my favorite part. It's because the ghoul stuff is really cool.
Well, but before that, her daughter comes back, because she's like this mysterious figure that comes back, and
The nun with the mask on.
yes, and she's confessing her love to the priest, which I'm like, where did this come from? Of like, I have always loved you, and
You don't even know him.
yeah, exactly. But then she stabs her, doesn't kill her, and then there's the end where she's kind of like that last moment she's dying when they're in the one I call the mad scientist lair. That she uses her powers to bring him back to life, and he sits up, grabs her.
Awesome. Dead stare. You see like the big scar in his neck. Like there was zero emotion. I did like that. You know, I wish there was more Ghoul in this movie. Like if that happened maybe 15, because this movie's not long. It's about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it's not a long movie, but if this happened maybe 20 minutes earlier and throughout for the last 40 minutes, I wouldn't be as mad at this movie as I am.
That and the zombie nuns that come out of the coffins right before that just kind of show up. They don't really do anything after that. I'm like, oh man.
What do nun bees eat?
I don't know.
They don't do brains. They do communion wafers. And they just want to eat the fucking skin of Christ.
And then we in Ex Morte Vita is the big saying on the wall. I forgot what they had this explanation of like what it was. The Devil's Door, I think they were calling it.
Yeah, they were calling it the Devil's Door. Like that area downstairs is the only way that door could open. That's why the secret lair was where it was.
Then we end with he makes the comment about how the father only speaks in telekinesis. The cauldron that starts to fire up, boiling. We get Red Eye Skull with his blinky lights again.
You know what I mean? The fucking shaken ghost.
Yeah. And he says there's a logical explanation for everything. And then as a nun falls out of the coffin. And then that's it. What nun fell out of the coffin was what I was trying to see. I don't know if it was one we knew or not.
I don't know any of them because they all look the fucking same. they all look like nuns.
Because the ones at the beginning, when they said died, I thought one of them was the girl that got bloodied in the mouth from the communion wafer and got the stigmata on her hands and feet. But it wasn't. She was a different one. And then the girl with the white hair, or the gray hair, I don't remember which one she was. Like, it was hard to keep track of the nuns. Let's just say that.
The girl with the gray hair is... Because there were two nuns that we meet that are in, like, the psych ward of this convent. One of them just sits there and, like, she's sitting there looking at the wall, and then she turns to her right and looks at you, and they just run away from her. That's the only time we see her. And then the second one is the gray-haired lady that chokes this man out, but also gets choked at the same time and dies.
And she seems to enjoy it.
Kakihara style from, like, Itchy the Killer. It's he's peacocking, you know? It's like that's like a excitement for them.
So overall, you weren't a big fan of the film.
No.
What did you rate The Other Hell out of 5?
So talking with you about this, I listed off more parts that I remembered liking. So on my Letterboxd, I think a 1 is too harsh.
Okay.
But I'm not going to give it much more. I don't do half stars, but this is a 2.
Okay. All right. You don't do half stars. You're like, half stars don't exist.
I can't. It's all or none.
Okay.
It's all or none. Either round up or round down. And this movie is more than a 1.5 to me. Will I ever watch it again? No. I have no desire to watch this movie. Unless you ask me to do something else, nunsploitation, then sure. That's really about it. What would you rate The Other Hell?
I do halves. So I was wavering between a 3 and a 3.5. Because for the Mattei movies I've done, I really dug it. It is batshit crazy all over the place. There is a terrible animatronic bat in the movie, by the way, we didn't mention. That it hooked me in, and I was like, I will probably watch this again just because it's batshit, wild, incoherent craziness. And I started watching the movie. They were filming at the exact same time in the same area with the same actors. but
horse dong.
The horse
can't get behind it.
Well, the horse scene itself, like it's a long scene. They do the whole horse sex and everything. And then they cut to nuns and drunk people like coming in. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Does that horse have the hammer of Zanzibar? See, that's the thing. Is like here lately, it's like I don't know what everyone's beef is with me. Like I invite people on to do 1.5 hour movies, something fun. Paul makes me watch a 2-hour anime movie. You make me watch this. Charlie makes me watch a 2-hour kids fighter pilot movie that should have been 1 hour 20 long. What did I do to you guys?
I mean, the month of Mattei, we had 6 total movies: Cruel Jaws, Hell of the Living Dead, Rats, Night of Terror, Zombie 3, Night Killer, and The Other Hell. I said this was personally might be one of my favorites of the month. The others, Night Killer is one that if you want to see some wild craziness, I don't even know where I would put that movie. Honestly, it's like 2 movies in one.
I was going to ask you if you could do like a quick ranking of the 6.
I don't know, because I Hell of the Living Dead, it was like this. It jumped around a lot, and he stole so much from like Romero and Fulci, but it was enjoyable. Same with Cruel Jaws. It's a terrible movie, but it's one of those films that you're just like, you know what? This is kind of fun. I'm having more fun making fun of it and going, wait, did he just put a Star Wars theme in the movie? Did he just put this in the movie? Well, yes, he did.
Patreon, keep your eyes out. Brad will give you a ranking video.
I do. I need to think about it and see where I would rank the 6. You know, I just finished The Other Hell today, so it's still fresh in my mind. So I got to kind of like let it stew and then think through my rankings of all 6 movies. I'll put that out for everybody. Dustin threw it out there. He wanted me to rank these. He wanted me to rank the 6 films that I watched for the month of Mattei. We'll go down the list here real quick of what we talked about this month. We talked Cruel Jaws, Hell of the Living Dead, Zombie 3, Rats, Night of Terror, Night Killer, and The Other Hell. So how I would rate them? Honestly, all 6 of these, a lot of them, they fit in that so bad it's good category, especially something like Cruel Jaws. I would rewatch any of the movies in this list. But we're going to start from the bottom and move our way up. Number 6 was Night Killer. Number 5 is Cruel Jaws. Number 4 is Zombie 3, aka Zombie Flesh Eaters 2. Rats, Night of Terror. Coming in number 2 is Hell of the Living Dead, aka Night of the Zombies, aka Virus, and many other names. And coming in at number 1, in a surprise, when I originally set up these 6 movies to watch, I did not expect The Other Hell to be my top Mattei movie for the month. It landed at the top. This one just hit right for me. So there you go. My 6 Month of Mattei films ranked: The Other Hell, Hell of the Living Dead, Rats, Night of Terror, Zombie 3, Cruel Jaws, Night Killer. I'll tell you, Dustin, next time we'll do something a little better for you, maybe, possibly.
Brad, coming over here is always fun. I don't care what movie it is.
So you give me Satanic Hispanics, which is one of my favorite movies the year it came out. And then I'm like, yeah, here, you can have The Other Hell.
You mentioned nuns one time in The Howling, and I was like, you know what? He likes nuns.
You know what? You get to be the nun guy. Well, thank you for coming and watch the movie twice, and coming on here to talk The Other Hell. What things you got going on your 25 shows? All
right, so Flicks and Friends podcast, we will have just put out the letter W, and that is for Wishmaster. That movie fucking rules. Yeah, Brad, you heard that correctly. Between Flicks and Friends podcast, B Action, and the Baron's Hideout, we all share something in July. And that is the Month of Action.
The Month of Action. How many shows? How many shows are taking part in the Month of Action?
Oh, man, there's upwards to like 15 different shows that are all participating, including yourself. But, there's podcasts, there's comic book shows, toy shows. Our buddy Serge, does like metal covers.
Yeah, he did a song.
And he covered it to the Riccio playing behind him, dude. It's so awesome. Serge is the man. Yeah, but everyone's doing some type of action-themed movie, and everyone has their own flavor. So Flicks and Friends, our action movie is The Boy and the Beast. It's not a Studio Ghibli movie, but you would think it's a Studio Ghibli movie.
Interesting. Okay.
Baron's Hideout, we are doing, all 4 of our episodes are going to be action horror themed. Deep Blue Sea, Predator, Army of Darkness, and The Terminator.
Unfortunately, not Cruel Jaws for Anna. I know she really wanted to talk the movie again.
Man, she would love to. And then B action, we had already put out Iron Eagle. We are doing The Hitman with Chuck Norris. We're doing Cull the Conqueror with Kevin Sorbo. And Double Impact with Double the Van Damage.
Need to throw Shocking Dark from Bruno Mattei in there.
I'm gonna tell Charlie, say, hey, that's my next pick. Is that?
Yes.
But that's all I got really cooking. A lot of Month of Action, so it's gonna be good. It's a big crossover community promotion event. We want to promote everyone as much as possible for it.
Old Man Brad has Zombie 3 as my Month of Action / Bruno Mattei pick that I did with Dan from
Geeks with Beards.
Everybody listen to all his shows. Go search out Month of Action. So many people are taking part in Month of Action. I've never been part of anything as big as this. I've done a few crossover, but it's like 3-4 shows, not like this big thing. The Month of Mattei, unfortunately, has come to an end. Maybe I'll bring some more Mattei movies here and there, but just make sure you subscribe to the show and you'll never miss anything that happens over at Old Man Brad. And I will be back soon with a brand new episode. Just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.